Hi, it's Jill from Daffodils Galleria. Today we're going to make a junk journal from book boards, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And it'll be more than one part. So this is part one, and what you're going to need are some book boards. I order mine online from the paper source. I'm actually not certain if they sell it anymore. It's been a while since I've ordered it from there. And then I also have the paper that I bought from them, and I'll show you how to use that to make the end papers and the cover. And I already pre-made my signatures, and I'll show you how to insert those, and we'll go from there. So sit back and you can watch first. I always find it easier to watch than to follow along, but do whatever makes you happy. So I've got my scissors and I have drawn out the size that I want to make the journal, and I use the cutting board to use as my guides, and we're just going to cut the paper alongside the lines that I measured it out. You can make it whatever size you want. Just feel free to make it your own. And this is my book board that I've already cut. And it's roughly 3/4 of an inch all the way around smaller than the piece of paper. And now I'm just sanding the edges to get it a nice clean edge. Just sanding them away. Sanding, sanding, sanding. You can see the little pill that rolled off there. Right there. It's just a medium grit sandpaper. These are the signatures that I have pre-made with all sorts of scrap papers. And you can see here, right there's the center from the string that I bound it with. So we're going to bind 3 signatures in this one. So I'm taking the signatures and laying them on the spine to make sure they fit nicely. And I want a little extra room because I like to add things to it after it's put together. A lot of times I'll add envelopes and packets to put stuff in and that sort of thing. So here I'm taking my PVA glue, and it's a little thick, so I'm going to have to get some methyl cellulose and thin it up a little bit because I want it to be a little more workable. Methyl cellulose, where are you? Somewhere there. Wet. Oh, there we go. Methyl cellulose, adding it to the PVA to make it nice and workable. I like to use PVA for sure on my bookbinding. It's a real firm hold. It's what bookbinders use. So I'm just stirring it up, stir away using my lovely knife tool here. It's actually one of my grandmother's old knives. I don't have the thing quite in the frame there. Sorry. So the one page on the right hand side, it's a little stained, probably got a little wet over the some ages, who knows. I'm going to use that one on the back, and it won't matter because the book tape that I'm going to use will cover it and you'll never even know it's there. It's on the inside, the end papers will cover it, you will never see it. So I'm getting my paper piercer out. I use the paper piercer to pierce the spine to add the, I think I'm going to add some rivets to this. So get out my rivets and all my stuff. And instead of just threading the signatures through the spine plain, you can do it that way too, it's just fine, but I think I'm going to just add a little more character to this one by adding some rivets. So I have this little paper piercer and it really helps to make a nice clean hole through the signatures, and in this instance I only used 2 holes in my signatures and I actually want to use 3 holes on the spine, so I'm going to add another string. I'm gonna add another place on there where I have to hole punch again. It'll make sense here, hopefully, when we get around to it. Trying to gather my wits about me. Clean up my cards. Yes, my cards are laying out. I've been making a deck of cards. They're kind of thick right now. So, they're fun though. See? Oh yes, they're thick. Okay, so just checking my book boards to make sure they're soft, and there's definitely a side that I like to face down. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's more finished on this side, and so it has just a little tiny bit of a curl on the edge, and it just seems to me like that's the side that should be the outside. So I'm going to apply the glue mixture to the back of the card, front of the card. You can kind of see the difference. Here I'm just going to smear it on. Just using the handy dandy knife tool. Finally get my brush. I just wanted to clean the excess off of the knife. So I just have a glue brush here that I use. It might even be a stencil brush, I don't know. Get it all the way to the edges. It's always easier when you work from the middle out. And gluing, 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 gluing. Wouldn't want to get any on my fingers. It's nice to have a baby wipe handy in case you do. Excuse me. Glue every little tiny, tiny part. Gluing, 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 gluing. Okay. Now we're going to place it using our eyeball tool, because you know, wouldn't want to actually make the marks that say where exactly it should go. I used to do that. I have done that in the past. I measure everything and I'm so over it. If it fits, it fits. That's all that matters. Because you know what? It's all going to be covered up by the end papers. All right. So getting my blade here. Oh, that's not the blade I want. That's the blade that spins. It's to make nice little circles, but I don't want that one. I want just a regular blade. What we're going to do is we're going to cut the corners so they lay nicely. Now this one, I just am taking the ruler to use, and it should be about 1/8 of an inch away from the corner. I'm too far here, but maybe I'll, let's see. Yeah, that's too far, but we'll let it go. So we're going to corner the pages. This just makes for a nice fold when you glue the sides down. I'm a little more than 1/8 from the corner, but oh well. So just to make sure I have it right, and see, it's going to lay down so pretty. Just giving it an initial fold. Now I'm going to take my glue and glue on the board. Actually, I need to glue the paper just to give it a little tack. And I use my bone folder to lift it up and crease it right up against the edge of the bookboard because I want it to be really tight on there. So I'm just using the bone folder now to press it down and get it on there really good. Make it nice and flat. And you can kind of see the stain there showing through a little bit, but don't worry about it because it's, like I said, it's going to be covered up, and who cares anyway? It's a journal and it's a junk journal. And so now flipping it over, you can see all the little bubbles. I'm just going to take my bone folder and press it good, and being careful the paper's not too wet because it might rip. I really like this bone folder. It's a Teflon bone folder, and it has this little wedge on it where I can just kind of press it, and just wanting to get it nice and smooth to the book board. So we'll work it until I'm happy that it's nice and smooth, and do the next side. Same procedure. This time I did a little bit better, and I like to get the glue right on the edge of the bookboard. Again, I'm gonna make sure I have it all covered nice. Take the bone folder and lift up the paper, and then push it right with the bone folder tip up to the edge. You can see the glue kind of coming out. That way you know you've got a really good fix on the paper to the bookboard. And I just kind of curl it over using the bone folder to make it nice and tight, and just working it with my fingers, holding it, using the bone folder. I don't know how I lived without a bone folder before my past life. I didn't. That's what. I never did books before, and when I started making books, got me a bone folder. All right, so there's the two. Now here's the little trick to do the corners. You can see I got them a little long. I'm going to fix it, cut it down just a little more. And I didn't quite get it all the way, so, oh, well, we just use our scissors. Or not. Okay, the knife is probably better. What the hey, it's really not cutting. Maybe I need a new blade. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do this on all four corners because we need it to be small enough. We want it to make a nice fold down. See, so when you fold it, you can see how it's like a nice package. And there's a little overhang here. This is what you get when you don't cut it short enough to begin with. You have to do some modifications. So now I just took my bone folder and I slid it down the side of the paper. I lifted the two flaps and then I just put the bone folder right on the edge of the bookboard. You can't quite see it, but that's what I'm doing. I'm running the bone folder down the edge to make a nice little seam there where it'll cover the bookboard completely, and then when you fold it down, it looks all tucked in there. So now we're going to glue this edge down. Same process. Gluing, 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 gluing. Oh, it's fun to glue the page. That's the gluing song for the day. And see, same trick. Bone folder, pulls it up, and you just push it up against the page. A little more glue. Fold it over. Stick it down. You want it as nice and tight as you can get it around the bookboard. It looks like a nice little present. Isn't that lovely? Just going to press out some of the bubbles. Now, fold the corner out, flip. It's hard to describe. You just kind of take the bone folder tip and fold it down so where you're kind of wrapping up the corner. Same thing on this side. You take the tip of the bone folder, and see if you can see that better. I'm just folding it over the edge. Oh, got to cut this excess off. If I didn't cut it off, it would kind of leave a little bump, and I just don't want the bump. You don't have to. If you don't mind the bump, you don't have to cut it. But I mind the bump. Mind the gap. All right, we're going to glue it. Sing the glue song. Want to hear it? Ha ha. Or not. Okay. Whoa, I'm not going to use our bone. Well, yes, we are. Cannot imagine not using the bone folder to seal that right up to the edge. It just makes it so nice and tight. Pushes all the bubbles out and just gets a really good seal on it. Push down. I'm using my nice finger tool there. All right. Dossy scoot. Okay. I have a handy baby wipe. I'm just kind of rubbing off the excess glue. Just gently rub it. Now, checking out the bookboard. That's the back. Pretty good. Just going to take, now this is a real bone folder. This is not my Teflon bone folder. This is, I think it's, I don't know what it's made of. Let's pretend it's like a real bone folder made of bone. That's why it's called a bone folder. Ha ha. I don't know what it's made of. But it's a different hard plastic thing. Just want to make sure all the little bumps are pushed out. We're going to set that one aside and work on the front cover. Same procedure. Maybe we can do this one a little bit better. I'm gonna glue, 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 glue. Start at the middle and work your way out, feather it out. Gluing. Doesn't take a ton of glue. And like I said, when I added the methyl cellulose to the PVA, it thinned it up just quite nicely to where it spreads, and it's just a nice consistency. I have a thing for getting my fingers dirty, so I'm sure my handy wipe, baby wipe, I just buy the cheapest baby wipes they sell. Kind of felt guilty buying baby wipes this time because I know people are struggling to find those things during this pandemic. All right, so very carefully align it to where it's even pretty much all the way around, centering, and usually I stand up to get it pretty even, pushing it down. It's not quite perfect, but neither am I. All right, same process. Use the bone folder to rub it out, rub it out. It's kind of like ironing. I like things that have instant gratification. And this is an instant gratification thing. You can immediately see the wrinkles going away. So just keep doing it until you're comfortable with how it looks. I don't know, maybe you like the bubbles. I don't like the bubbles. I want it to look just as smooth as possible. So I'm just going to work it over here. Go along the edge to make that initial crease. All right. Tidy. Got to keep our workspace clean. Ah! I have the tiniest little workspace because I've got so much garbage around it. All right. Now we're going to take our ruler. Let's see if we can't get it cut right this time. A little bit closer. 1/8 of an inch away from the corner. Yeah, that's better. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm remembering as I go along. Now I'm trying to kind of use the mat to make it a nice little, what's it called, right angle? I didn't quite get it straight. Oh well, again, me and my imperfection. That'll be good though. All right, fine. That's a little more than 1/8 of an inch on that side. Well, we just can't be perfect. See, I'm just doing this. I'm doing this on purpose so you guys can see that perfection is not required. That's a little bit better. Now I have my little angle a little bit more precise. All right, that's actually a pretty good cut. I really need a new blade. It's not like they're far away, they're right in front of me, but heavens, that would take time. Okay. It's so funny, the things that matter and the things that don't matter. In the end, it's all small stuff. It's a journal that only I'm ever going to play with probably until I die. My children read it and think, good Lord, what is this my mother has done? That's a pretty good cut. Okay. Now, I'm going to Give them an initial tease and glue them down. Gluing. Same process as we used on the other side. You can fast forward if this is boring for you. But I just want you to see all the details. I love the details. When I watch my friends' my other people's videos on there, I'm always happy when they don't speed it up, because then I'm like, but what, how long did that actually take you? So using the bone folder again to make sure it's really tied up against there. Pressing out the wrinkles. Oh, I've had this paper for so long, I'm glad I'm finally using it. I make a lot of book boxes, and I've decided to make a journal. Shoot. Gonna tip that corner in just like that. Now see, because I made the cut the right length this time, the distance away from the corner, it worked a little bit better to fold it over with the bone folder. The point is just to cover the board. That's just a little bookbinding technique. Gonna glue, gonna glue. All right. Set my brush. Oops. Okay, fine. Go in there. I was going to put it in the lid. That's what I usually like to do, but it didn't want to stay. So, and usually my jar of glue or whatever, paint, is fuller, and I don't like to fill the brush so much with whatever I'm putting it in, so that's why I don't like to put the brush back into the bucket. But it's really pretty shallow right now, so it's okay. Okay, wipe off the bone folder on the baby wipe. Just press it all out. This is a nice paper that takes the moisture really well. You could use any paper, but it might not hold so well to the manipulation. I don't know. Manipulation, is that the, yeah, I would say so. All right, folding up the corner. And now we're going to glue down. Try to get your brush to where it coats the very edge of the book board. See, that I'm going to put it in the lid there. All right. Now we're going to fold it over. Use the bone folder to press it tight. And fold it over. I don't know why, it just seems to work better when I use the bone folder than my fingers. Run it along the edge. I like a nice crisp edge. Wiping off the glue. Okay, last corner coming up, edge, whatever. You still with me? Hold on. Gotta make sure I have every single little problem out. Okay. Last corner, last edge. You're doing a very good job following along so far. All right. Flip. Just something fun about doing that. I don't know what it is. Alrighty. That, my friends, is how you cover the first part of your book boards. This one's going to be the cover. Okay. Just double check it. Make sure you have all the little bubbles worked out. Takes a little extra time, but it's worth it. Okay. Tidy, tidy. Keep it clean. When you have very limited space, this is what we do. Okay, this is a piece of book tape that I have. It's the width of it was pre-cut. It comes on a roll. And so I'm just trying to get the roll out by going in the opposite direction a little bit, because it has been rolled up for 100 years. And it really doesn't matter if you crease it a little bit, because when you glue it down, or actually it's tape, so you know, I might glue it, I might not glue it, we'll see here. But if it's tacky enough, you don't need to glue it. Should be pretty tacky. This is the hardest part. Anyway, I pre-cut it to about the same length as the book pages were, or the cover pages were, before I folded them over. So whatever size that was, it's pre-cut, but the width is just the way it comes. So it seems pretty tacky. Now I'm going to make sure that my spine is the same direction where the flat edge is face up, and we're going to eyeball it and stick it down. There we go. Okay. It's kind of nice. Excuse me, glue. Get out of my way. Now we're going to make sure your top of the book boards line right up exactly the same. And since I cut my spine ahead, the spine, I measured my signatures from, I don't know if you remember that part, but I did. I made sure that the spine fit the 3 signatures with a little extra room. I have no idea what width it actually is. So there's a gutter in between the spine and the 2 covers. You see how I left a little space in there? That is so it folds nicely. Now we're going to just push this down, get your bone folder, and press it in there. You want it nice and snug. I'm going to just do the same procedure here. This just holds all 3 pieces together, and it adds a nice pretty little color to it. And what is this? It's apricot color. Make sure you tuck it in there real good and get that right into the seams, or into the gutter. Those are called gutters in between the spine and the covers. Just fold it straight down. Same technique, and then press it into the gutter. I like to press it from the middle out and then push down the part that goes on the cover. But I want to make sure I get it into the gutter real good so it sticks and stays forever. Okie dokie. And now you have your cover. And see, when you fold it, because of those gutters, it stays, it has a perfect adherence. It's not like bunching up at the sides. So now we're going to put our end paper down. Got to pick an end paper here. Oh, this is not going to work because it just shows it's pretty, but it's not going to work. So hold on while I find myself a piece of paper. Oh, wait a minute. This little edge here is bothering me. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Fold it down a little more. Let's see here. Let's look at the back. Oh, look at that. That looks nice. You can kind of see how it's going to look. Okay, now I must hunt for paper. Okay, so I've chosen this heart paper to use for my end papers. And I need to have a piece that's big enough to cover the whole spread, all in one piece. Some people don't do that, but that's how I like to do it. So, got a big enough piece of paper. This is something I've used before. So I'm just going to eyeball it. Wouldn't want to measure. Good heavens, no, that's above and beyond the call of duty. So, okay, I have kind of a general idea here. Oh yes, let's do it this way. Let's put the book on top and measure that way. Oh, what a fabulous notion. Okay, so I have to measure a little bit just to get an idea of what we're looking at here. Okay, and the end paper is going to be just a fuzz smaller, I think. I can't remember. We'll see here. Maybe I'm going to make it the exact same size here. Okay. Organizing my thoughts here. So, I'm going to measure. No, I'm going to cut it. I'll use that pre-cut edge probably to line it up with. How wide do I want it? Better to have a little bit extra than too little, is what I say. That always drives me crazy. And I've done that many times where I've cut and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It's too small. So I'm just going to put a little tiny mark here. This is just a crayon pencil type of thing that I have handy. I'm just making my mark where I want to cut. Just putting a dot. And we're really making this far more complicated, I think, than it needs to be. But, you know, it is what it is. Alright, so there's both ends. Top, and I'm eyeballing it down about a fraction of an inch. That's a precise measurement, a fraction. Because I want it to be just fuzz smaller. So I do one on each end, a dot on each end, and then I make the ruler touch both dots. And I'm drawing it down the line where I'm going to cut the paper. How difficult. We're going to do the same thing here. Make sure we have the line. Excuse my head. Very slowly and gingerly we cut. Don't want to pull too hard because it will just tear, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so I don't know if you see here how I've scooched it just a little bit to where I have that the book is hanging over the paper just a tiny little bit, and see how I've got the ruler just about a fraction of an inch because I want that bookboard paper to show on the inside. And so the end paper is going to be just a tiny bit smaller than the whole cover. So I've got my dot, and I lined it up with the bottom dot even though you couldn't see it. And there we go. This was a shorter cut, so I felt a little safer not drawing the line first. I don't know. Alright, now, see, I'm taking my ruler here and making sure I got all my little cuts done. Pulling it apart gently. This paper is really fibrous. It's a nice paper too. Takes moisture pretty well, and we'll set that aside, save it for another project. By the way, I meant to tell you that I didn't have enough of my 1/8 inch book board. I think that's about an 1/8 inch deep for the spine that was like without cutting a whole nother piece of bookboard. So I used this little piece of cardboard. Oh, there's the gutter. I'm showing you the gutter. I want it to be lined up. Anyway, I used just a piece of cardboard that was a little bit thinner that I had on hand. And it'll be nice actually because it'll pierce nicely when I'm putting the signatures through. So we're going to line this paper up, and I actually made a photo album once and I did it upside down. I was so mad at myself, and I had glued all the pictures in and I did it upside down. The hearts were upside down on my end papers. I was so mad. Oh well. Okay, so now we're going to glue down our end paper. I'm just going to put the glue all over the creation here. Get it in the gutters, get it all over. Gluing, more gluing. You can always fast forward through the gluing parts if you want to. Oh, little gutter. I want to make sure my gutters are good. Gutters are very important. All right. Carry on with our gluing now. See, that little stain is not even going to show. Goodbye, stain. I almost wouldn't care if it did show because it adds character. Things like that just don't bother me. Gluing. See, and I bought this PVA at the paper source a long time ago, and I don't think they sell it anymore. Bummer days. I'm gonna have to find a new source for PVA and methyl cellulose. Methyl cellulose, first time I got it, I was very confused. Okay, hold on. We're lining this up to where just the edges peek all around the sides. That's what I was doing when I was measuring it. And guess what we're doing here? Pushing it into the gutters. And we'll use our bone folder here and eventually. But for now, we're just going to stick it in there. I want to feel it in there. All right, now we're going to press it all out. Anyway, so the first time I got my methyl cellulose, it comes dry. It's in a powder, and I was like, what the heck is this? And then I realized, oh, I have to add water. And so I keep my methyl cellulose, I mix it once and it's done, but it was very confusing the first time. So if you ever buy methyl cellulose and it's in a powder form, that's what it is. You just add water to the top and you're good. It should come pre-measured. All right, so look how cute that looks. That's going to be the inside. Me and my cannot stand stickiness. I have some weirdnesses. Just gonna press it down, keep pressing, keep pressing. If you're bored with the pressing, fast forward the pressing. Oh, missed some little spots. Just tuck the glue up underneath there. I want to make sure it's nice and adhered. Adhered nicely, as it were. I like the way it feels. See this little corner? It's still bothering me. I want to make sure it's nice and flat, because nobody's ever going to see this but me. And you'll see here, it's not quite even straight. I didn't even get it straight. It's kind of wonky, but oh well. It's going to be the way it is. Good job, Jill. Could have eyeballed that a little bit better, couldn't you have? Maybe, maybe. Little imperfections make it perfect. All right. Take your bone folder and press it all out. I really, like I said, this one is my Teflon bone folder, and it really works great. It's got just the right widths to get in those gutters, and press it down, press it down. Okay, we are done pretty much with our cover. Ta-da! What do you think? Uh-huh. Just checking the gutters, making sure it folds nicely. There's the spine. Ooh, we don't like that little bit there. And just keep pressing it out until it's nice and firm. Just work it until you're happy. And once you get the signatures put in, it'll add a little more body to it. You'll never even notice anything like that. And this is, again, the center piece, the center bookboard is a little bit thinner, and so it's not quite as sturdy as the rest of it was. But, ta-da! There you have it. On to part 2.